Hey, my name is Justin Von Eigen, and I'm going to go over the routines that have helped me be successful in the life insurance industry. At my agency here, we sell final expense life insurance 100% over the phone. You may be selling it face-to-face. I don't know exactly what products you sell, but I'm going to go over my routines that I practice pretty much daily that have helped me generate a lot of success for myself in just the short few years that I've been in the industry. The first thing that I really do when I start off my day is I write down my goals. I write down what I want to accomplish on a quarterly basis, and then like more long-term vision. And I take a look at what energizes me. And I constantly do this. I write them down in the morning. I write them down in the middle of the day. So the reason why this is important is because what you're doing is you're constantly throwing your goals. You gotta have an emotion attached to them too. Like you actually gotta get excited about them. So don't just pick a goal because like someone else has it. I think a lot of people run into issues with their success because they're working on goals that other people set for them. Like you may have a family member tell you, oh, you should go do this. You need this much money for this. Or a spouse may say, you need this to do this. Or this, we need this for this. I want to make sure that you are accomplishing goals for what you want. It may not change the amount of money that you make, but it may change the emotion that's tied to it, because you want a positive, exciting emotion tied to whatever your goals are. I'm big on goals, and I'm big on setting targets for myself and going out there and accomplishing them. But what I do is I become obsessed with them. I become immersed in the pursuit of them, and I make sure that every single day I am just, everything I do during the day has to do with my goals. I've gotten that discipline now from doing this, a practice of writing down my goals multiple times a day. It's all that's on my brain. It's literally all I think about. I'm obsessed with it. I can't think of anything else because it's all I'm feeding into our brain. So our brains are like calculators. They're going to operate on the data that we get. So if we're putting a bunch of bad crap into a calculator or a computer, then we're going to get a bunch of bad crap out, right? You go on bad websites, you're going to get viruses. But you put good stuff into the computer, you put good stuff on your brain, and you're going to get good stuff out of it. So write your goals down multiple times a day. It imprints them on your subconscious, and by being obsessed with them in an energetic and emotional way, it will just cause you to have these like epiphanies of ideas that are going to help you be successful and help you make more money. So write down a goal, what you want to accomplish, how you're going to get it, what you're going to sacrifice for it, and a deadline of when you're going to make that much money or accomplish that goal by. So the second thing I do every single day is I create a to-do list. So you're going to see here, I have a list. I know it's pretty bright lights, but I have my goals here that I wrote down, and then for this quarter, and then I have for each of my goals, what I do is I create a column. Okay, so you want to have your goals written down, and then I would write down your goals immediately. The second you wake up, boom, write them down. Like nothing else should come on your mind before writing goals down. It's a discipline you got to build, right? Because we're used to like waking up, open up social media, going to the bathroom, like whatever. First thing you want to do, write down your goals. I promise the bathroom can wait like 30 seconds for you to do this, or a minute. So once you have your goals written down, I'm not a big proponent of having like a million goals either. So I would say pick like 3 or 5 things that you really want to crush and focus on over the next several months, or less. Honestly, like the less, the better that you're going to be at that one thing. After you have those goals written down, I want you to create a to-do list. So you have your 5 things per se in a list, and then I want you to create 5 columns of what you're going to do to accomplish those things in that day. So for instance, me, I have training with my new agents. I have one-on-ones with people who are putting in effort. And I have checking things for our license course signups, for recruiting, and just other things I do. That's for my agency stuff. And then YouTube, like I had this video planned on my to-do list. I have another YouTube channel that I had on my to-do list. So I have my workout stuff on a to-do list. That's another routine that I have for exercising. So I go through and I write to-do lists. What am I going to do that day to work on that goal? All right. So it's like a battle plan. Now, I have my schedule set up, and you know I'm pretty disciplined in my scheduling and making sure that I'm consistent with that. Still, I'd still make that checklist every day for me to do, and I make sure that I'm going down that list every day and crossing off the things that I need to do to be successful. And I know, hey, if I can get that to-do list done every single day, I am going to be one step closer towards accomplishing those goals. So after the goals, my next routine is creating a to-do list and just start going all in on them. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's just a race to cross those things off the list. How fast can I get all those things done well? Now, don't rush through them so they're done poorly, but like how fast can I get through those things and get those things done and complete those cycles of action? Third thing I want to go over, third routine that I wrote down here is exercise. So I exercise every day, and I don't go to the gym every day, but I do like to do some sort of exercise and get sunlight and stuff like that. I believe sunlight and exercise are super important for your mental and emotional well-being, and that transitions over to the other aspects of your life. So I feel like people, you do everything the way you do one thing. So if you kind of slack in one area, you may slack in another. So I kind of go all in on it. I wake up, I go to the gym super early. I try to get to the gym about 5 a.m. And if I'm not at the gym, I like to hop on a spin bike that I have in my bedroom. I literally just roll out of bed and jump on it, and I'll just bike for like 20, 30 minutes in the morning. Nothing crazy, but get the blood pumping. What happens is I want to own my body in the morning. Okay, I want to have control and have an accomplishment right in the morning. And I want to have control over what I do. I want the first thing that I do every day to accomplish something important and to just overcome a challenge. And once your fitness routines get hard, it's like, man, I just knocked something out really tough during the day. And it helps you have wins during the day too, because what you can do is, as you're going through your routines, you should be writing down your exercises, how much you lift for weight. You should be writing down like how many minutes you did on the bike, maybe what your resting heart rate was or whatever. And you want to try to beat it like every time, right? Every week. You want to have that baseline increase of whatever it is. You can get on the scale. So it's cool. So like when I go to the gym, I have a logbook, a journal, and I journal all my lifts. So every day that I do that part of the routine again, I make sure, hey, okay, last week I did this much for squats for this many reps. I want to try to do the same amount of weight for a couple more reps, assuming everything else is the same, assuming my diet is there and everything else. So my fitness is a big part of my daily routine. So I recommend any of you guys. It really helps give me sustained energy throughout the day, and I can contribute that to some of my success because it helps me push with a high amount of energy through the whole day. I don't get like the midday crash after I exercise in the day. I don't get like tired or whatever. My energy levels are sustained. If I don't work out in the morning, I get tired around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I want to kind of take that nap. So set yourself up with a fitness routine, and it can really, really help change your situation. If you want a fitness routine, I'm pretty good at it. I've been doing it for a long time. Just text me at 774-606-6847. Say, hey, Justin, I'd like a fitness routine. I can probably find something to send over. Or just email me at jve@thejve.com. I'll send that over. So next comes to diet. I'm pretty structured on my diet. So like on my to-do list, right, I have meals, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I try to have my meals be healthy. I have like a good amount of protein, calories, carbohydrates. I make sure I try to eat only foods that are whole, like no processed crap. And I want to have 4 good sized meals every day. And I want to get sun twice a day. And I have my nighttime cardio and my lifting or AM cardio, depending on which one I do. So as I go through the day, I cross off the list for my meals. So like as of today now, I've had 3 meals. I'm going to cross that off. I've gotten sun once and I lifted in the morning. So that stuff is crossed off. So it's cool. It's like boom, 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 I'm getting stuff done. It helps me do that, but it also helps my gym routine as well. Remember, how you do one thing complements another thing. Like if I get up and I don't feel like going to the gym, I can just write down my goals and it gets me a little bit more excited for it because I'm like, hey, I got to go there. I can accomplish this. It's going to help me with this other thing. So making sure that you have a good diet is important. Do some research, learn what's important for you to eat. You should be putting good stuff in your body. Your body is a machine. It's a carbon oxygen machine. It's an engine. So you want to feed it with the right fuel to sustain you throughout the day. Awesome way to do it is to meal prep. So if you don't have to go everything crazy and like weigh everything out, but Saturday, Sunday, a big part of my fitness routine or my food routine is Saturday or Sunday to prep my meals out. I'll make it as easy as possible too. But these are little containers that have pre-made rice. I'll prep a bunch of steak, chicken, hamburger, turkey burger, bison meat, whatever on the weekend, and I'll have it in containers so that I can just bring it to work, portion my stuff out, microwave it, eat it real quick, and I'm good to go. I don't have to order takeout. I'm not going to order something really bad through like Uber Eats or something like that. And I end up spending less money too, and it helps me make and save a little bit of money as well while eating better. I also set a reading routine for myself. This is another routine that I think is really, really, really important and has helped me make more money because I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly trying to be in the brain of someone else. And I don't only read books on like success and money and stuff like that. Like I love fantasy novels. That's one of the types of books I read. Over the next 3 months, I want to read 5 books. And some fantasy novels, they're not like, little dinky little pamphlets. Like they're really big, they're thick. So to read one of those books, it takes a lot of time. I'm a big proponent of audiobooks too. So I read some books and I listen to some books. I try to have several different personal development books in rotation and one fantasy book that I'm on. Because of the storyline, it's hard to follow like different storylines at the same time for me, but I recommend audiobooks. Now what I do in the morning when I get up and write down my goals, I get up at 4:30, write down my goals right away, and then I put on an audiobook like immediately. Right after I write down my goals, I put on an audiobook, and that way I can bang out a bunch of stuff at the same time. So if say I go work out, I can work out before I work out, I listen to an audiobook. In between sets, I listen to an audiobook. On my way to the gym, I listen to an audiobook. So you can actually add like an hour plus of time every day of personal development and education through audiobooks just by having them in the car on your commute. I don't listen to music. I only listen to music when I'm lifting and I need to get like pumped up or excited for like a big exercise, a big lift. That's it. I don't listen to music in the car. I can't remember the last time I really did. Unless I'm driving with someone else and we're like talking, I kind of put it low in the background, but I don't choose personally to listen to music. I mean, I learned so much more from audiobooks, and I'm so obsessed with growth and development. Like music's just kind of, I don't know, it's like it sounds cool, but it doesn't really do anything for me. Like it doesn't help me progress or grow in any way. So I highly recommend getting on reading and audiobooks. Set some time aside for yourself and put yourself in someone else's brain who's really successful, because it's going to help you grow, and that's one of the best ways for you to succeed. And I would not be even close to where I am right now if I didn't put myself in the brain of other people and apply the knowledge that they've already learned. One routine that I can attribute to some of our production success is me every single morning going through the roster of my team, saying, hey, who put a good effort in yesterday? Who has a lot of dials and time on the phone? Who had a lot of sale? Who had some production? And who am I going to reach out to today and congratulate? Who am I going to give some attention to? I try to reach out just like I don't like to give people not working as much attention as those who are working. It's very easy to get into a situation where you're like, hey, we want to reach out to people, drive them, push them to sell. They're not doing anything, but it's really easy to forget about the people who are doing something. And what you can do if you're always reaching out to the people who aren't working, you can set up like, I don't want to set the tone that someone has to not work to get my attention. You know, it's like rewarding the bad kid. So there's a fine line you draw, but I love going through the roster, shouting out people who are doing well, and then asking people who needs help and helping them, and going through and saying, you know what, these 3 people really busted their butt yesterday. I'm going to have a one-on-one with them and listen to some of their calls and help them on their training. So I do that every single day, and we do that in our morning meetings, which is another routine that I have. Every single morning at 8 a.m. we have a Zoom call, and then at 8:30 we go to our trainings. So I either have new agent training, or I jump in one-on-one with some successful like agents who are already rocking, already working with us. They just need to tweak their skills a little bit, and they're getting the ball rolling, and they're developing these same routines that I have in my life. I'm trying to help them develop them as well. So I also go through and I check leads. So I check on my lead sources for recruiting. Every day I'm on that. I'm like, hey, what can I do to find more people? What can I do to recruit more agents? How can I hire more individuals? What can I do to make my systems better for the people who are already here? So I do a little review of that. It helps make sure that everything's kind of like together, right? May have to fire some people, may have to onboard some other people. It's trimming a tree. You know, you get some leaves that grow and they end up doing amazing, and then some die, you clip them and they go away. It is what it is. So it's kind of trimming the tree every day as a routine. And then also filming YouTube videos. So I film videos, and I'm always trying to come up with ideas that can help you guys. And I think that that's helped me be successful, because I've actually learned a lot in order to teach you guys like what I do. Some things that I had a decent idea of what I was doing, like, you know what, I'm going to research this a little more, try to learn a little more. That way, like, I can provide better value to my audience and help them out. Those are just some of the routines that I go through every day. Those are the most prominent ones for me, and they've been able to help me create an income for myself. And it really just comes down to consistency. A routine that when I was just individually selling as an agent that I did, it was making a certain amount of phone calls, or I would really shoot for 7 presentations every day. So I'm like, I want to have 7 presentations to the quote today. It's hot in this office, I'm sweating. I want to have 7 presentations all the way to the quote today. And if I can do that, then I know that I had I feel like I had a decent activity for the day. I feel like I put a full effort in, regardless of how many sales I made. So it was like, I'm going to put in this many presentations, even if I made 2 sales on my first 2 presentations. If first 2 presentations were sales, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to keep going. So I would shoot to have that, but I would work pretty much all day, and I still do the same thing. My whole day is working. So I'm helping agents close sales, and these are just like the base routines really that I go through on a daily basis of, like, things that I do the same thing of just about every day, right? I write down my goals, I exercise, I come to the office, look down my roster, but throughout the day, things will change, of course. There may be things that get thrown in the middle of you guys' day that can throw you off of that, but you're not always going to have everything crossed off on this list either. There are a ton of days that I don't get everything crossed off, but I know that, hey, if I can have a couple days where I do get, like, if most of the days I can get all this stuff crossed off, I'm working towards my goals, and my income's only going to go up. So my goals now are to help people become successful final expense agents. So I train agents, I recruit them, then I do what I can to keep them here by helping them get better and improve and work through some of the tough stuff that they may be working through personally as well. So that's really like my daily routines, guys. I'm giving you a glimpse into this because if you want to be successful, then all you got to do is copy what other people are doing who are successful. Now, I don't consider myself like massively successful. I've only been in the business for a few years, but I net many hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, after like expenses and everything. And I've grown pretty quickly. So like, if that's something that you'd be looking to do at some point, then just copy the routines that I have. You may or may not be able to copy all of them, but you want to make routines for yourself that can help you set yourself up for success, because everybody can do it. The only difference between where I was 4 years ago and where I am now is knowledge that I have applied over time consistently through routines. It's really all it is. Like doing the same thing every day. And at first I didn't know what I was doing. So I reached out to people, I paid them. I'm like, hey, how do I do this? Oh, you do this. Okay, cool. Some people didn't even want money for it, to be honest. Some people make it their business to sell information, which is totally okay. They provide a service for money. That's just it, guys. That's the sauce. So get your routines structured. Find routines that you know work for other people, and then find which ones work for you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, guys. This is a super simple business. You just got to do what everybody else has been doing for a long time, and it comes down to just doing the same thing every single day that it takes to be successful. Before you know it, you're going to have a bunch of money that you can invest in other things, so you'll never have to work again. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check the next video coming up. You don't want to miss it.